Hi there, my name is Jay Lusk and I'm your GPSC president. In this brief video, I'm going to run through an overview of the testing component of Duke's Return to Campus plan. As a brief disclaimer, it's important to note that the policies and procedures I describe in this video are subject to change at any time based on public health guidance. Additionally, I want to emphasize that washing your hands, maintaining effective social distancing, and wearing a mask or face covering are the cornerstone to our COVID-19 response this fall and are essential to keeping our community safe. With that being said, let's jump right into testing. The first type of testing we'll discuss is baseline testing. In baseline testing, all students are tested at one time point when they initially arrive to campus. Contrast that with pooled surveillance testing. In surveillance testing, groups of students will be tested together. If any are positive, all will undergo a full diagnostic test. Of course, anyone who develops symptoms consistent with COVID-19 will also be tested. And if you come into contact with someone who themselves was diagnosed with COVID-19, you should also be tested. Now let's discuss the baseline testing policy. Whether or not you need to undergo a baseline test will depend on whether or not you've already been approved to come to campus over the summer. For example, PhD students working in laboratories and clinical students in the School of Medicine and the School of Nursing will not need to undergo a baseline test. These students may, however, opt into a baseline test if they wish. Otherwise, all students who plan to come to campus this fall will need to undergo a baseline test. This test will be an anterior nares test, which I'll explain in just a moment, and it'll be administered by a nurse at Penn Pavilion. This testing is required before your Duke card can be activated, and you'll need to keep yourself isolated until your results come back, which can take up to 48 hours. Now let's clarify the two different types of swabs that we're discussing. The first swab is an anterior nares swab. This is the swab that we used for the baseline and surveillance testing. In an anterior nares swab, the swab is inserted into the front part of your nasal cavity. Contrast that with a nasopharyngeal swab, which is inserted all the way to the back of your nasal cavity, and it will reach all the way to touch the front of your throat. This type of swab will be used for symptomatic testing and for follow-up on positive surveillance testing. So where can you get tested? All baseline testing will be performed at Penn Pavilion. For surveillance testing, you will actually administer that anterior nares swab yourself and then drop off the sample at Penn Pavilion. Finally, for symptomatic testing, you should seek the guidance of student health. If you become severely symptomatic, you should get medical care, and you can present to Duke Urgent Care or directly to the emergency department. I hope that this video was helpful. If you have any comments, concerns, or questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. I thank you for your time and attention.